Pash Fam, it's Paula, and today I'm going to be talking to you about budgeting with your passion planner. I am honestly so psyched to talk about this topic because not only am I really passionate about it, but I've been on my own financial journey these past few years, and I want to share everything that I've learned with you all. But before I get into the actual tips, I want to contextualize by sharing a little bit of my story so you know where this advice is coming from. When I first graduated with my bachelor's degree, I was able to get a stable job right out of college. I actually was pretty good with my finances. I had about 3 to 6 months worth of savings. I even had a Roth IRA account. And the only debt that I had was my student loan. And it was good financially, but I ended up going to grad school because I was just so miserable in the job that I was in. By the time I finished my master's degree, I had not only my student loan, but $14,000 of credit card debt, I had a car loan, and I had drained my savings and retirement accounts. So it was a really difficult time financially for me. I think graduate school really put me in a financial hole, in part because of financial responsibilities that I thought I needed to take care of, and also just irresponsibility on my part. From that point forward was when I decided, okay, I'm going to really make it a point and focus on my finances and work on getting better. So I graduated from that program about 2 years ago, and since then I paid off 2 credit cards. I've been able to build up a introductory emergency savings of $1,000. I just want to share with you everything that I've learned, and to also just let you know that I'm in the struggle too. I think sometimes when we think about money and budgeting, it's a taboo topic for people to talk about. But I think the only way to do well with your money is to talk about it and learn about it with others. As we go through this video, I'm going to be sharing with you some tangible spreads that I've used in the Passion Planner and also some tips on finance that I've learned. Important to note that I'm not an expert, but I'm just going to share with you what I've learned, but only take what resonates with you. So before we go into this video, you're going to need a few things. The first is your Passion Planner. If you don't have a Passion Planner, you can print out the free PDF, which we'll link in the description. You'll need the yearly overview PDF, the finance tracker PDF, and the dotted pages of your Passion Planner. And we also have a printout for that. All of those links will be in the description so you can follow along, but make sure that you have all of those prepared before you move on to the rest of the video. Now that you have all of your supplies, I just want you to take a moment before you write anything down and really reflect on a few things. The first of those things is what is going to be your financial focus and sub-focus. For me, my primary focus is debt repayment, and my sub-focus is saving for a wedding because I'm getting married next year. However, that may differ for you. It may be investments, it may be putting money into a retirement account or saving for a vacation. Whatever it is, just make sure that you identify what those goals are specifically so that you know what you're pursuing. Second is to follow or choose some financial experts or content creators who you really resonate with. The way that I've been focusing on my financial journey started off by hearing Dave Ramsey's work. So I follow loosely his baby steps. I like Dave Ramsey just because of how distinct and easy it is to follow his steps. They're very straightforward. Make sure that you just use whatever method works for you. Another content creator that I really like is The Financial Diet, and I'm sure a lot of you have heard of The Financial Diet. They have really great content, but what I love about them is that it's really about living a financially healthy lifestyle versus just one-off financial advice. What I also really love about them is that it's not just being so focused on your finances that you don't get to have fun. They really implement ways to enjoy yourself and celebrate your money day to day. Another influencer that I really like is Hey Berna. She's actually a friend of our CEO's here. But what I love about her is that she takes really complicated financial language and jargon and makes it really accessible to her followers. My favorite video from her is one where she talks about the different kinds of savings accounts, which I would have never known what a high yield savings account was if it weren't for her. So we'll link that video in the description too, but she's a great person to follow if you're looking to understand more about finances in general. The last content creator who I love in terms of finances is Asia Dang. And Asia Dang is actually a member of the Pash Fam, and I think it was just last year where she paid off $200,000 of student loans, and she used her Passion Planner to track off her debt repayments. So we're gonna link a few of her videos in the description too, just because I think it's really important to hear from other members of the Pash fam how they're tackling their finances and budgeting. And she's also super transparent with her finances, which is great for all of us who really like to learn because we get to see what the numbers look like for somebody else. The last thing to do before starting your budget, as cheesy as this sounds, is to be committed to believing in yourself. I think we shoot ourselves in the foot when we create a budget, but we have it in our minds that, oh, I never stick to my budget, or oh, I'm not good with finances. You really have to start releasing that belief about yourself in order to start changing your behaviors, because your behaviors change when your mindset and perspectives change. And it takes a little while to learn to trust yourself with your finances, but it really does happen when you start to see results. You're like, hey, I can do this. And I know because I've been there. I mean, I was $10,000 or $15,000 more in debt this time last year. And the one thing that got me through it was just seeing the little progress and the little steps that I was making. And all of those things add up. So celebrate where you are now and just know that whatever vision you have in the future is possible. You just really have to believe in yourself and commit yourself to the process. All right, so now we get to the fun stuff. You're gonna need the yearly overview PDF that you printed out earlier. And what you're going to do is you're going to write out all of your year's expenses from the last year. The yearly overview is useful because if you have subscriptions that are not necessarily every month, or you have an expense that only happens certain times during the year, you'll be able to refer to it in your passion planner every now and again. So an example of that, I already wrote mine down, but for January, I know that my Costco subscription renews every January. And by writing that down, I'm aware, okay, in January, this amount of money is going to be taken out. By also doing your yearly overview, you get to track your extra money that's going to be coming in. So for example, February through March, I'm going to be filing my taxes, so I'm going to be expecting a tax refund during February or March sometime. So by writing that down, I'm expecting that income to come in, and I'm not going to be blindsided by, oh, now I have all this money, now I can do whatever I want with it. Instead, you're going to be anticipating that additional income, and you're going to be able to spend that money more wisely by knowing when it's going to come in. The next part we're going to go into is using the finance tracker. So I use the finance tracker and I replace the monthly layout. Now I get to see my expenses at a monthly glance. And so I print out the compact or small version of the finance tracker and I just paste it where the monthly tables would have been. I budget by paycheck. Some people budget by month. If that works for you, that's great. But I found that when I budgeted by month, I would have certain pay periods where I felt like I had no money because all of my bills and a bunch of different expenses would be in that time. So I like to budget by paycheck so that I can account for every single dollar that is being paid for. I also know that some people prefer to use Excel or Google Sheets to track their finances. But I'll be honest, when I was using Excel or the computer to track my finances, I almost never stuck to my budget because for me, when I write things down, I'm just more committed to a goal than when I'm typing things out. In addition to that, I would say to treat each expense that you're anticipating as a checklist. I do practice zero-based budgeting, which means that every single dollar of my paycheck is assigned a specific purpose. The goal is to end up with $0 from my paycheck in the sense that every single dollar in that paycheck has a job to do. It has a place to go to. So in my finance tracker, I drew an extra column. Every time an expense shows up on my credit statement, I just check it off like, hey, all right, now that's out of the way. I don't have to worry about that anymore. So that's why using the Passion Planner works for me. I hold myself accountable to my goals a little bit more because I see my Passion Planner every day. So how I format my finance tracker is the first section of the sheet, I have all of my fixed expenses. I begin with my paycheck, what I'm going to be making that pay period, and then everything that follows is things that I have to pay for. Because I am focused on debt repayment, that payment goes first. And then all of my other goals and other fixed expenses go before that. Now, One of the common mistakes of making a budget is that you will just track food, gas, just general expenses like that. But before you even think about your food and other miscellaneous things that you're going to spend on, start with your financial goals. So that focus and sub-focus we talked about earlier, that's what you're going to budget first. Because if you wait to budget those last, you're just going to get the leftovers of whatever you want to spend on everything else when those should be your financial priority. Before I budget even my food, gas, miscellaneous expenses, I always budget for, okay, I want to pay $500 into my car loan this pay period. And then, okay, my sub-focus is to save for the wedding. So I'm going to set aside $200 to put into my wedding savings with my fiance. Then all of the fixed expenses, and then I total what is left over, and then whatever's left over is what I have to spend for the month. Maybe it's not too much. Honestly, right now, I have like $235 left over after all of my fixed expenses. But it sounds weird, but it's kind of exciting for me to see how I can be creative with that amount of money and make it work for me. Another tip is to not just limit the amount of dollars that you're spending, but to also limit the amount of transactions that you budget for. I only allow myself the number of transactions that are on this finance tracker. So basically, once I get to the end of this pay period, that's all the money that I can spend for that pay period. And that's actually really helped me out a lot. You'll notice that I put a yellow washi tape here, and that's just because I did really well my last pay period and I had maybe 5 boxes left. So I'm challenging myself a little bit and removing 2 boxes. See if I can limit my spending to this amount of boxes. The good thing about limiting your transactions as well is that you're going to be purchasing things with the intention of longevity and not just one-offs. So an example of that is when you're eating out versus buying groceries. $50 worth of groceries can feed you for, depending if you're just by yourself or with, a family or whatnot. For me, $50 of groceries, I can eat in 2 weeks. And that's with budgeting and whatnot. Obviously, I'm not buying like lobsters or anything. But, $50 goes a long way versus if you were to go out once and say you buy like a $15 plate of avocado toast that's only going to last you for that one meal. By limiting your transactions, you're going to be more thoughtful and intentional about what you spend your money on. Another thing to note is to align your financial calendar with your social calendar. So in my Passion Planner, I have a copy of the annual layout month on the right side so I can easily see what's on my event calendar for the month. And so I can refer to that when I'm looking through my finances and I'm like, oh, on the 16th is my brother's birthday, so I need to allot some money to getting him a gift. So by making sure that you are aware of what's happening in your month, you can also budget for those social events that you probably want to spend time with your friends and all of those things, which I am all for celebrating and having fun while being on a budget. I just think that the best way to tackle that is to just see it coming instead of being blindsided. For this next part, you will need your dotted pages in your Passion Planner or the dotted page PDF that you got from our website. And for this, I'm going to show you my personal debt tracker. I use the debt snowball method. So let me just explain that really quick. The debt snowball method is tackling your smallest debts first and then working your way up from there. The debt avalanche method is to tackle your high interest debts first. I'm motivated by seeing really fast progress. So the debt snowball works really well for me. For me, it feels like a high reward. But people who are a little bit more logical tackle high interest debt first because in the long run, they're going to be saving more money. But I just like seeing the results faster. So that's why I use that method. I'll show you both my chart from last year and my chart from this year, but I tracked all of the different debts that I had. And you'll see that it's slowly going down for each one. And because I'm focused on one particular debt, you'll notice that one debt is going down faster and then it'll be done, and then another one will go down faster and then that one will be done. Basically what I do is I just write down the months, I assign each debt a color. So for my car loan, it's red, for my Discover card, it's green, and then on the side I have the amount of that the debt is. And then each month I just draw a little circle and then a line from the previous month just so I can see my progress. So that's what that looks like for this year. But My one from last year, I love looking at my one from last year because I can see how much progress I've made, but it basically looks the same. Each credit card has a color, and then at the bottom, I even tracked how the specific amounts and how much they were going down and added them up. Of all the pages in my passion planner that helped me the most with my finances, this page is probably the one that motivated me the most, just because I get to see my progress and see how far I've come and basically see the light at the end of the tunnel. You don't have to do a chart like I did. You can do check boxes, which I've seen, which I think is what Asia Ding had used, but this chart works for me. If you have any questions about it, you can leave it in the comments and we'll get back to you, but it's really motivating to see how far you've come, and that's my favorite part about the dotted pages. I mentioned earlier that I am saving for a wedding, but I'm also still building up my own individual savings. And because saving for a wedding is a pretty big financial commitment, I'm taking savings a little bit at a time. So I'm participating in the 52-week savings challenge. And what that is that for each week, you're going to save the amount of dollars that that week represents. So for example, in week 1, you're going to save $1. In week 24, you're going to save $24, et cetera, et cetera. By the end of the challenge, you will have saved $1,378. The key to that challenge is just consistency. And because the amounts are small enough, you don't feel like you are overextending your finances on a regular basis just because, you can save $29 a week, that's fine. It may get a little bit heavier towards the end, but I think by that point you will have built up so much momentum that it won't even matter anymore. I challenge you all to do that challenge if that resonates with you. I found this one on Pinterest. If you feel like you can save more aggressively, they have a lot more different weekly plans on there. But if you are just getting started with your financial journey, this may be a good place to start. And that's all for me in terms of budgeting. I think, again, that not all of this may resonate with you. Just only take the points that do. And remember, there's so much content out there on finance and building a budget. Go to Asia Ding's page, go to Hey Berna's page, Dave Ramsey, The Financial Diet. All of them have a plethora of different advice and tools for you to use as you begin your financial journey. Until then, let me know in the comments what's the best piece of financial advice you've ever been given. Like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.